The people. I think if there are people around, you will see it, you will feel it. And one of the best things we enjoy is being on campus overnight because through the day, the way the campus is used is so different. And at night, it really comes alive because people are not inside classrooms, but they're outside. And while they still might be studying and learning and interacting, it's all in between spaces.
You get your own interpretation of modern architecture, and then you have an architectural expression. It's you trying to understand it, it's you trying to sell it. So the more you immerse yourself in understanding the culture, your modern interpretation will be built on that.
Hello, everyone. I'm Pooja Tiwari, and I'm extremely delighted to welcome all of you to We See Live Season 4, Episode 3. If you're joining us for the first time, We See Live is a monthly webinar series presented by the Godrej Value Co-Creators Club, an initiative by Godrej Locks and Architectural Solutions. Through We See Live, we bring together leading voices from architecture and design for meaningful conversations on the ideas, processes, and perspectives shaping the built environment. We had a truly engaging Season 3 and Season 4. We are continuing that momentum with deeper, sharper conversations around architecture, cities, and design. GVCC is a growing community of architects and designers across India brought together to exchange ideas, explore innovation, and champion thoughtful, people-first design. If you haven't joined the community yet, you can do so by clicking the link in the chat box. Let's take a moment to see what GVCC is all about.
Welcome to the Godrej Value Co-Creators Club, where innovation meets collaboration. GVCC is a unique platform for architects and interior designers to merge their creative visions with our innovative product offerings. We aim to cultivate a network of thought leaders driving innovation and excellence in the industry. Celebrate your achievements with our GV's Awards, recognizing innovative projects across various verticals. Join our community through exhibition visits and masterclasses to stay updated on the latest trends and technologies. Enjoy exclusive access to new products, special discounts, and tours of our Mumbai and Goa plants. Join the Godrej Value Co-Creators Club today. Be part of a community that values innovation, collaboration, and sustainability.
Godrej Locks and Architectural Solutions, a trusted leader in home safety, continues to innovate through its latest campaign, Befikar Living Unlocked, featuring the next-gen Adventist IoT 9 digital lock, designed to address modern safety needs through smart technology. Let's take a look at the film.
Thrusters.
Check. Door lock check.
डोर लॉक घर का डोर लॉक किया था या भूल गया घर का लॉक फटाफट से चेक करके आऊं क्या
ले आइए गोदरेज IoT 9 डिजिटल लॉक 9 सिक्योर एक्सेस मोड्स ऑटोमेटिक लॉकिंग ट्रिपल बोल्ट और कई एडवांस फीचर्स अब घर के अंदर या बाहर रहो बेफिक्र
घर जाते ही गोदरेज डिजिटल लॉक लगवाऊंगा
At VC Live, we'll look beyond the finished image to understand the thinking that shapes architecture and design. And today's conversation asks us a very vital question. Architecture as a catalyst for community transformation. Can architecture do more than shape skylines? Can it create belonging, encourage interaction, and strengthen the way communities live, work, learn, and connect? As cities continue to evolve, architecture carries a responsibility that goes beyond function and form. It has the ability to influence public life, support social exchange, and create environments that leave a lasting impact on both people and place. Today's session explores how thoughtful design can become a force for transformation, not only by responding on the needs of communities, but by actively helping shape stronger, more connected, and more meaningful futures. Through the lens of planning, education, mixed-use development, healthcare, hospitality, and large-scale urban thinking, our speakers today will examine how architecture can create real value in the life of a community. We'll also have a moderated conversation, a live poll, and audience question and answer at the end. So please do keep sharing your questions in the Q&A tab as we go along. All right, now it's time to invite our first speaker for the evening. Let us begin by welcoming our first speaker. He leads the design vision across the Middle East and Africa region with a portfolio spanning mixed use, hospitality, healthcare, residential, commercial, and master planning projects. Driven by clear design thinking and a strong sense of context, his work reflects architecture that is expressive, purposeful, and enduring. Today, he will bring his perspective on how design can activate public life, strengthen belonging, and contribute to lasting community impact. So yes, it's time to invite our first speaker. With a warm welcome, let's invite Mr. Mahmoud Shahin. A warm welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. What a great introduction. Appreciate it. I have to start by thanking you for the introduction. I have to start by thanking the organizers, of course, everybody that joined us today, and my esteemed fellow Supriya. Good luck with your presentation as well. So without further ado, I'd like to start, and I'd like to share my screen, please. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Excellent. So I think it's appropriate to start very, very briefly to just tell everyone about the practice that I have spent very long time being with, and I deeply admire. P&T Group is a practice that has been established for quite some time. We're very close to 160 years old practice. Established by two British gentlemen, Palmer and Turner, where the P&T abbreviation comes from. They created this small office that turned out to be an award-winning international practice that is indeed ranked at top consultancy in the world. And also we operate in 70 cities throughout Asia, Southeast Asia, the Middle East and Africa and beyond. And we do a lot of large-scale projects. But today I want to focus on a certain aspect of P&T. I want to focus about our design approach and our philosophy, and that will then link up to the title of this presentation. So our approach as architects and engineers is that we go with an integrated approach. One vision throughout architects and engineers to leave a lasting legacy. We always like to integrate sustainability. From the very first day this practice was established, it was established on ethos and fundamentals of sustainability, with one objective in mind, that we leave future generation with a planet that is capable to sustain life. So today, I wanted to talk about architecture beyond the aesthetics. How can architecture really impact communities, and how we can realize these amazing ideas in a way that is for the people and for the communities. And that goes beyond the visual aspect of every building. Today, I want to structure the presentation in form of questions, because this is how we design projects. We always ask ourselves a lot of questions, and with the answers, we are capable of designing projects. So today, the question is not only what we can design, but what our design can make possible for the communities and for our clients. So starting with the context, every project needs a place, needs a site. So this is our starting point. And with that, we bring in purpose and design. For us, it's the intersection of those three elements where the project would lie. There are multiple ways of design, but this is our way and how we see it. So from that point of view, design then needs context. So what is context? Is it the site? Is it an environment? But for us, it's quite simply the dialogue between a building and its environment. So why does it matter? Because context is culture. It's the environment, it's the history, and it's the community's needs. It's how people made the context matter. This site is different from the one next door. because of the people, because of the history of the area, and because of the environment. So therefore, buildings have an impact, and they shape how people live, connect, and certainly interact following the completion of the building. So if we can anticipate how people will behave in the future, then this building can continue to influence their lives. So from that point of view, I'd like to explore the pillars of contextual design from our point of view. It goes for the cultural relevance. People must relate to it culturally. It's the urban context where it sits. This very specific site for a project is the site for the project, not the one next door, not the one up the hill. It's climate response. How does it relate to the climate in this area, in this very specific area, neighborhood? And how sustainability would come in place and inform how this building performs, affect the environment, and impact our planet. And then we bring in the architectural expression. And the order is very important because architectural expression is truly the lasting expression. However, it has to be informed, and this is how we see it being informed. And today I've chose two examples from P&T portfolio, of which I would like to expand these questions and thoughts on those very examples. I will start with a project that happened to be in Dubai, where I am based in the Dubai studio. It's the 5 hotel and residence. It's a mixed-use project. When the client came to us and gave us a challenge, and this is how we see projects, they are challenges. The challenge was creating a new hospitality destination in a city where hospitality destinations are competing against each other when it comes to iconic and landmarks. They wanted an iconic waterfront as a lifestyle destination. They wanted bold and contemporary expression reflecting the vibrancy of the city, and integrating hotel and residence in one environment without separation. And that would then reframe the luxury hospitality in the city at the time. But then further challenges came in. That's the fun part. It's a very high GFA target that we have to achieve in a high density site that would limit our creativity in terms of, freedom. It has a high efficiency targets for GFA to NSA and GSA. And we need to achieve our sustainability targets. And of course, a lot of construction challenges, especially when it comes to reclaimed land. So for those who don't know the Palm Jumeirah, that's a reclaimed island in Dubai, and the project is located in the trunk of the island. So the first thing that we notice is how do you arrive and depart from the site, which is, as you can see, the departure in blue is quite convoluted. So the first reaction is we've got to create something special in arrival and departure. Secondly, the positioning of the site, where it faces amazing views, it also faces west, which brings serious challenges to heat gain into the building. So from the very beginning, we knew serious interventions got to take place. Views from the site are remarkable, one of a kind. You're looking at the skyline of Dubai Marina and the sunset. The water meets the shore, an incredible sight. And we started thinking how we can influence this new users, how we can give them something special. So we focused at the time on this sort of simplicity of barefoot chic approach, where everything is at your fingertips, can enjoy yourself, and you can do whatever you want, whether you're a hotel guest or a resident. So our typical process is keep testing until we find out what we actually can produce. So we tested the size of the building. We applied our experience of creating a resort setup that is sheltered by the building. We obviously start looking into cascading the building, creating terraces that would allow users to enjoy views to the outside, and creating outdoor environment, which at the time outdoor environment wasn't quite serious in Dubai. But then we wanted to create something special because we noticed that we are creating a wall from a road and community point of view, and that creates a series of, isolation as every other building that is adjacent to our site. So our first reaction is, let's give something back to the community by creating a frame. Let's create frame that sunset for the entire community. And you're looking at one of the very sketches that were done for the project. So that frame, while it gives the project its iconic treatment, it actually gives back to the community by connecting it visually. And at a certain time of the day, it brings daylight to the road behind it and the rest of the neighborhood on the Palm. And you can see it here very clear, where every building acts as a wall. This building creates that monumental effect for the neighborhood as well as the project. But in order for you to understand truly the project and how complex it is, you can start to see it when you explode it. You have 2 residential wings that are at around 220 residential units, a central hotel that is about 450 keys, and a central spine of public activities, from F&B village to a spa to a central pool, and that ends with a beach club and 6 sea views villas in the front line of the project. And all of those interact seamlessly, as well as coming through from the road. And that creates that monumental moment that is both for the users and for the community. But one of the challenges of this great design is construction. This building is about 200 meters in length, and it has a big gateway sitting on the top on a very dense site that you can barely put a crane in. So very first challenges, we need to provide construction joints within the building, which dictated how the design will behave. And also we needed to bring in serious structural elements to create this gateway into the building. So this is a photo during construction where the building was flowing until you've got to the gateway that actually required the largest mobile crane in the world to lift those trusses up and position them to create the gateway. But why is the gateway so special? Is it because it just suspended, or is it because it's a gate, or is it because of something else? Of course, it's because of the something else. We wouldn't create a gate and let our structural engineers have an easy go. No, we wanted to put in this location a ballroom for 500 people. So that then dictated that we wanted to be column free. And with our structural engineers, we created a creative solution that would allow the columns above and below to carry that ballroom, giving us a column-free space that is an iconic ballroom compared to all of the ballrooms in town, where they're simply just big black box. In this case, you have views both to the Dubai Marina and to the Burj Al Arab to the other side. So during daytime, you can enjoy daylight and views, as well as the nighttime seeing the shimmering lights of the Dubai Marina. And I've attended multiple events in this place, and it's quite remarkable. So creating this building, not just for our clients, but for the community. And it's one of the most popular destinations on the Palm, whether you want to enjoy the beach life, pool life, or just simply want to have a meal. And of course, for all the users that live into the building. The experience starts from the arrival and the sculptural element with the central pool linked to it, and it goes beyond until you depart from the hotel. A couple of key features that we've managed to integrate into this building, including, being conscious of recyclable materials and so on. We created a lot of renewable energy systems, and we created a lot of terraces and balconies, which helped us reduce the heat gain. But most importantly, this building can, from renewable energy, reduce 50% of daily hot water production from regular water electricity usage, and saves serious amount of electricity throughout renewable energy, of course. Every moment about this building is special, whether it's a garden or spa pool or a guest room, or you simply sitting in your terrace enjoying the remarkable skyline. We did create a landmark, but we also give something back to the community. Another example that I would like to present today is a different typology, which is a grade A office building called the K11 Atelier. Sits in one of the most famous roads in the island of Hong Kong, the King's Road. The challenge of this building is that it sits in one of the oldest buildings, oldest roads on the island, with buildings that are relatively old, kind of wearing off. And the building we're looking at the moment is the building where our client decided to demolish to build a new building. But they wanted to build a building that is a sustainable example and a prototype for the entire country that focuses on sustainability and wellness, but above all, enhances the urban fabric of the environment. The building sits in a very prominent site. At the moment you go up to a certain height, you have northern views to the Victoria Harbour, one of the most exciting views in the world, and to the southern side to the Peak, which is an incredible green hill that is the identity of the island of Hong Kong in a very dense commercial area. So when you look at the streetscape of this area, it's very dense, it's retail heavy. There is no area where you can breathe. So the model that we wanted to create is something special for the people before just the users of the building. And our first reaction is that let's create a model that reflects the country and the city more so than anything else. And we came up with the vertical creative city that reflects the vibrancy of Hong Kong, but also reflects its nature throughout. And through it, the fragmentation of the building, we managed to integrate the landscape, which is in everywhere in Hong Kong, if you like. So to the left-hand side, we'll be looking at a standard building arrangement where you have a base and a tower that people would look at and not feel anything special. So we decided to break down the mass and create something that people would look at in an eye and say, this is the country that I grew up in with landscape, but I also enhanced the streetscape environment by letting people walk around by lifting the base a little bit up. And through that fragmentation, you start to create an exciting architecture. It is not only giving us opportunities when it comes to envelope, but it also creates an exciting streetscape and a destination for grade A office building. So as we can see, the arrival of the building is very exciting in terms of its vegetation landscape, but its openness. It allows people to take shortcuts through the building. It allows everybody to have views towards the building, let alone the users of the building. And its articulations create the interest and with light and shadow and creates an incredible landmark for the community. And as the building progresses to the top of it, you have an area, a communal space for the users of the building where they can go up and enjoy themselves. But it also have an area where we grow crops, and I'll explain a little bit about that later. But we also have renewable energy hub, including testing air quality, wind directions, and renewable energy, and of course, air handling units. We do have views at either side throughout the building because you can look through it. So this is a view to the Peak and this is a view to the harbour. Big focus on sustainability. The building has serious measures when it comes to renewable energy, but it also, something we're proud of is the sustainable material when it comes to the recyclable content, regional materials, and the amount of certified wood. But the building has a food cycle of its own, from growing crops, taking it to the restaurant, going to doing a decomposition, which happens in the basement, back to fertilizers, and having the food cycle throughout the buildings and its users. The photo to the right, the entire interior and the stone finish with that memorial wall is actually made of all of the stone collected from the previous site. And as I end my presentation of this project, it's the first project in the world that enjoyed 3 platinum pre-certification, LEED, WELL, and BEAM Plus in Hong Kong. So my final statement is that we have 2 projects, one philosophy. Purposeful design is contextually grounded. It's for the people, it's for the culture. It responds to the people's needs and communities. And with that, I would say thank you for giving me this opportunity.
With that, I will also say thank you so much for showing such amazing works. I think it was huge. It was amazing. The first project spoke for itself too much. Everybody, I'm sure, was absolutely at awe looking at the project. But I must say that your introduction spoke about a lot of responsible architecture, that how responsibly you take care of all the projects that you do, because it's so important it's so important to take care of the future, that what is the future going to look when they look at your works like yours. So thank you so much for doing that for us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, let's invite our second speaker for the evening. With expertise in higher education and planning, she brings strong strategic thinking and management insight to projects across Southeast Asia and global markets. Her work focuses on helping clients shape meaningful, future-ready environments through thoughtful planning, programming, and design leadership. Please join me in welcoming architect Supriya Thyagarajan from Executive Director, Perkins Eastman, India. A warm welcome.
And thank you, Pooja. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes, sir. But I can't. Yes, I can see you. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm going to start sharing my screen in a second. Just let me know if you can
please.
see this.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, perfect.
Sure.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I will apologize in advance. I have a bad throat, so I might be coughing and sneezing through this presentation, but I'll try to keep it brief. Thank you, Godrej, for inviting me for this session. I've attended GV's awards in the past as a juror and thoroughly enjoyed that experience. So I'm glad to be back on the platform again. Today, I'm going to talk about a project that's very personal and very important for me, for our office in India, and for the firm itself. So let's talk about that. One second. Okay. All right. Let me set the context of who we are. So Perkins Eastman was founded in 1981. We are headquartered in New York, but have 25 offices across the world. And Mumbai office is one such studio. While we are an international firm, we are bound by a single design philosophy, which is human by design. Now, what do we mean by that? We want to create solutions around the needs of the people. So the experience of people who use the building, who walk through that environment is paramount, whether it's to live, to learn, to work, to play, to heal, right? And every time when we start a design, we question ourselves, is this going to add to the human experience? And if yes, how so, right? We also work under multiple practice areas. So we have healthcare, we have education, we have senior living, we have hospitality, and the power of all of it is when it all comes together, right? And that is the idea of convergence. And that's what we actually bring to the table when it comes to design, because it cannot be only looked at through a single lens. Mumbai office, this is where I belong to. This is my community. And the project that I'm going to talk about, Ashoka University, has been a really, really important project to actually jumpstart the practice of Perkins Eastman in India. It was one of the first few projects that we started designing, and we established an office around it. Today, we are 45 people strong. This project has helped us grow in the last, we've been around for 15 years, and this project has really helped us grow into a large team. We started with a team of 10 to 12 people, and now we are 45 people plus. And it continues to be part of our history and legacy. It continues to be part of the stories that we talk in the office, part of the narratives, part of the experiences, part of everything to do and not to do, right? This is me, and this is essentially the India leadership. We have Brad Perkins, who's our chairman, Nick Lee, who's our co-CEO, and then all my colleagues. I have circled who I am, but I want to also show you where I started from when I was here. This is Ashoka University. Okay, this is a finished product, but I'll start with how it all began. We often think of architecture as just set of buildings, and But for us as Perkins Eastman, as people who are designers, we care about the community that it is going to come, it's going to affect in impact, the community that it's going to bring together, and the community that is going to live and breathe and experience some of their most formative years, right? Ashoka University is an undergraduate school and now, of course, has PhD and postgraduate programs as well. But imagine a young kid of 18 coming into a campus and living their most important years on campus. And how do we design for that? And what impact will our design, our architecture have on that student? It started way back in 2010. If you look at the image from 2010 to 2025, it is literally in the middle of nowhere. This is in Sonipat. It's about 60 kilometers away from Delhi, in between Delhi and Chandigarh. And if you see what's around, it was just farmlands. So we were the first ones to sort of start up a university in Rajiv Gandhi Education uh, land. And sort of that became the catalyst for development around it as well. And as the university grew, the community around it grew too, and you can see it through images. But before that, Ashoka had started as a Young India, they started with a Young India Fellowship program. And what they set out to do was very, very unique. They wanted to break away from the traditional mold of professional education and open it out to a multidisciplinary educational approach. And what they started was with the first liberal arts campus, liberal arts education in India. Um, in 2014, we had the first batch coming in. And then through growth over the last 10 years, now at 2025, we also have PhD and postgraduate and master's program all included. But that growth was very important even for us to learn as an architect as to what really happens on a campus, what happens through the life cycle of your own buildings, your own communities, and how do you design for such um, uncertainties and unknowns, right? This is a new university in the middle of nowhere that was trying to do something different. And how, as architects, you can be extremely agile when you start designing something like this. It started with a master plan. This is the ultimate master plan, but honestly, this was not the first one we designed. It may have taken at least 100 iterations, and every time there was a new building added, there was a new program added, the user groups came in, we had to continuously adapt and change. But it started with the idea that what does a typical campus look like, and what would it mean to have that campus in India? So while we borrowed from the traditional structure of a quad in the center with academic buildings around, and then with student housing around, um, what should the architecture look like? What does the quad mean? It's typically meant a place where students can move freely. They can spill out from their academic spaces, and the learning should happen in between some of these buildings, right? So that was a very conscious decision. And as we started building bit by bit all around, the green space that was given to the students continued to remain a green space, and we didn't finish the quad, but this campus is now complete with more than 4,000 students. The architecture was, again, an extremely important discussion and decision. What should it be? We can't just emulate a Western model and bring it to India. We wanted it to belong to the context. We wanted it to age well. We want these buildings to live beyond our own lives. So, what materials do we use? What kind of old traditional ways of architecture, which is the shaded corridors, courtyards, uh, can add value to not only the character of the spaces, but also to embedded passive design. So a lot went into it, a lot of design iterations, a lot of discussions with the founders as to what do you want this building to mean and to feel like. And we're very happy that the stone jali that you see on most of the buildings which started as actually a sustainability element to make sure that we were screening out very harsh sunlight, also became the identity of the campus. This jolly pattern is now used on their merchandise. It's used as an award, a student award. Uh, and you see this jolly and you know it's Ashoka. I mean, it's become synonymous with the university. So the architecture not only led to uh, giving spaces, but also now became the symbol and the icon for the university. Sustainability, as even even Mahmoud was saying, it's not an added layer, it's very inbuilt into our process. When we start looking at how to put buildings on campus, we just don't see of what systems we can use, but passive design strategies. How do we orient the buildings? Where can we add shading? Where can we add jalis here? In this case, a large facade faced west. There was a corridor in between that facade and the jali, and then classrooms. How can we keep some lot of it non-air conditioned? What does this interstitial space between the inside and the outside help to do? And Sonipat does see a huge variation in temperature from, 45, 47 degrees in summer to almost 8 to 9 degrees in winter. And what kind of spaces feel comfortable, right? And one of the decisions that were consciously taken was to ensure that we build the buildings very close to each other. Now, this was done so that the buildings also self-shade. Um, And then, of course, when you look at the impact of that, there is a lot of positive impact that happened. Not only did we save on energy, we could also use solar panels to ensure that we supplement that energy requirement. We had more than 15 recharge wells. We have waste composting on site. There is local very indigenous flora and fauna. There's local biodiversity. There is food that is actually grown on site. And so there is an entire ecosystem that's developed now on campus where sustainability is a driver. Not only that, the students have taken this campus has become a living example for students as to what sustainability strategies can do and help the community. So they have a lot of initiatives they themselves started doing in order to make the campus more sustainable. Now, when I keep talking about students, who are these students? Now, currently on campus, there are about 33, 3,300 plus students. There are 86% are undergrads, which is a very young population. But I want to just look at the diversity. This campus, the way it's structured, more both in terms of its built environment and the policies, is able to attract students from 10 different countries. It's able to attract students from 140 different cities in the country, and almost most students, more than 50%, receive financial aid. So it's not only straddling socio-economic, uh, you know, uh, bringing students from different socio-economic class, but also uh, really reaching out to the nooks and corners of our country and bringing them to this university. One of the other really important numbers to look at is 30% are first generation college goers in their families. Now, this is a huge game changer when it comes to economic upward mobility, right? When you have one person in the family that starts getting education, going to campus, and is exposed to such a brilliant education system, the upliftment or the impact of that is seen in generations to come within that family. So the community and the educational system is doing all of that. While we were designing this, one of the key focus was also belonging and how to make this campus belong to students, belong to everybody. Um, Accessibility became a very, very important discussion. Accessibility not only in terms of mobility, but also visual impairment. How can we create spaces and which is accessible to everybody on campus? So there were, of course, simple things like ramps, um, making sure that every place is accessible. There are elevators, but also visual cues, sound cues, things in the landscape that we could embed that became very quiet ways of ensuring that without it being very loud, that people feel that they can belong to this campus and this campus is their own. There was also a lot of discussions on very simple thing like toilets. This was the first time we were actually designing gender neutral toilets in a university environment. And a lot of discussions about that. What would students end up doing there? Would it be safe? Would it be a place where things may go out of hand? Like lots of discussions about that. But we knew it was the right thing to do because the moment you have a place that is not defined by gender, that's not defined or belongs to one or the other, it you start attracting people who then feel safe to be on campus. So if you look at the overall percentage, we have more than 6% of student population with some or the other level of disability who are here and thriving. We have people who very openly identify as non-binary and have spaces that feel space that they can use on campus. And these are very young students, right? So to have that level of safety, to have that level of comfort on a campus with those kind of facilities is marvelous at this stage. And that's what they will go out and promote and propagate as well, right? There was also a very conscious decision to keep student hostel not very far away in and from the academic campus. It was done, one, because of phasing, but also very close proximity to each other. So at all times, the campus is vibrant. There are eyes on the streets. People are seen. And because you're seen, you feel safe. This is the campus started way back in 2014. So we don't not only have more than 3,000 students on campus, but a large community now of alumni, of donors. This is an entirely philanthropic organization. So there are more than 200 or 300 donors. There are partner institutions. There are stakeholders. There are so many people, and this one campus is able to influence all of it, right? So when you design something really small but effective, it has the potential to actually have that impact and a ripple effect, even from beyond the boundaries of the campus. Student life, this was actually one of the most challenging things. You always imagine when you're drawing sketches, you know that students will use it. But you really don't know till you actually go on campus. And even till date, we are surprised by how some of these public spaces are used by on campus, were used by students. They conduct activities, they conduct even protests, they're very vocal about what kind of initiatives they're doing. And all these spaces that were intentionally or even accidentally designed have started to get used by the student community. Of course, in addition to that, we did a lot of other spaces like student lounges in hostels, a multi-court gymnatorium or gymnasium, which has retractable seating. We had a very big focus on fitness and sports center. Of course, library, which is not only a library, it's become a student common. One of my favorite spaces is the Black Box Theater, which is one of its kind because it's just a black box and it allows you to have performances, you can do rehearsals, you can have lectures, and it's really wonderful to see that come alive when you have one of these performances. There's, of course, merchandise stores and cafes, which are sort of regular places that one can see the community. But this is marvelous. This is actually just a small alley between two buildings. And we never imagined this or we never designed it to be that space, but it just became that place. It became a nice shaded corridor where on a good day, students could just sit outside, um, between their lessons, grab a bite, or interact with each other. And what are we doing with this, right? We are taking all of these experiences that we are giving to the students, and we are creating the workforce of the future. And if you, by the way you design your campus, um, expose them to inclusivity, expose them to diversity, expose them to critical thinking, expose them to um, beautiful spaces that are designed. I mean, they are all going to go out and become leaders and become champions for the same, expose them to sustainability and champions for the same. And these are some of the metrics that show that the students are actually um, doing extremely well in the workforce. We have had the opportunity to interact with some of these students. Some of them have gone on and to become our own clients now. And it's just wonderful to see how one campus experience has really transformed their lives and they really take good memories from it. Social impact, this is something we want to speak about as well, because when we started this campus, it was actually on a farmland, and it was the Sonipat, Haryana, was not a very safe space. Uh, there was hostility from the community around because it was something very new to them. And over many years, through employment programs, through outreach, to ensuring that there are initiatives that uh, continuously engage with the community outside by bringing the community which is around the campus into the campus. Um, I remember we had mobile libraries that went out into the villages from all the books that were donated on campus. Um, we had a lot of employees from on the campus that belonged to villages around. It truly became integrated within the context. So what initially felt like an absolutely alien, elitist insertion now is fully integrated, and that's not only because of the way the campus was designed, but also a lot of initiatives that the Educational Trust took upon itself to make sure that they are looking at this university as a catalyst for social impact around in the neighborhood and in the region as well. Long-term plan, that initial bit was just the first 25. So the top right image is just the first 25 acres. It's about 1.2 million square feet that's been built. And now the second phase of the campus, which is another 60 acres right across the road from it, is starting to get developed. Now, once that starts developing, there is student community there, there are more programs there. You can only imagine the impact it's going to have to the rest of the community around. So with 25 acres, we were able to create a very strong community that that was very rooted in what it wanted to do. And now with adding other programs like sciences, biosciences, computer science, they are actually taking it to the next level. To that, there is more student community added, there is more faculty community that's getting added. There's a huge emphasis on sports and sports arenas. So largely, I mean, over 100-acre, it's almost going to become a 10,000 student township eventually. And we are very excited to continuously work with the client's team to get there. This is the long-term regional impact. So while this is, if you look at the map, it's between Delhi and Chandigarh. And now, because it's on the main corridor or the main highway, there is a lot larger impact even on the land prices around. So there is almost an estimated of 15 to 20% growth. There is increased land value around it. And it's really making that impact because a lot of education has that, right? I mean, it does that to any place. And specifically these concentrated sort of areas of very highly intellectual, high target intellectual universities. I mean, there are other, like there's Delhi, I think there's IIT Delhi there, there's this World Design School there, there is Bharati Vidyapeeth coming up there, and it's really going to transform what Sonipat was originally, I mean, almost 20 years ago. This is Ashoka in the making. I mean, it's 10 years of my time on campus, my colleagues' time on campus. We have a lot of memories, but just to give you an idea, the picture on the left is that grand stair, which is right in front of the library building, which was just getting constructed. Um, and the pictures on the left, sorry, on the right hand side is where we're looking back into the campus. But some of really, really nice memories. There's one picture where we are all sharing uh, very good buttermilk from the nearby village, and I can't tell you how good it was on a very, very hot day outside. Although we are all covered up, it was a very hot day outside. And some of these memories we will always cherish about being part of development of this campus. And in this image now, you will see that grand stair right in front of this big Charlie box that was coming up. Um, it was only yesterday that I was sitting with two interns from our office, and they were asking us, like, is architecture hard? How can it be easy? It's very complex to put together projects like that. But how can it not be satisfying? If today we go and stand in middle of this campus, there is no way you don't feel gratitude for the profession you are in and for the work that you were fortunate to do, and the amount of people and the number of people you affect by simply the designs and the buildings that you have made. So absolute gratitude that I got the opportunity to work on this project and spend 10 years of my life seeing the transformation of this campus. So yes, I mean, not only did it affect the community immediately, the student community, the faculty community, Sonipat, but personally for me, when I joined Ashoka, I was just a project manager, joined in 2013. But through my experiences of being there, I learned how to set boundaries, to ask for simple things like sanitation on site, to ask to be heard, to get confidence and get confidence because I was probably one of the only women on site at that time, and then slowly start to advocate for other women in the firm as well, to be part of this profession. By the time it got completed in 2021, I had grown from a project manager to a leadership position, representing the work I do, the firm, the office I'm part of at a global platform at Perkins Eastman as well. So this project has not only been part of my growth journey, but also helped build me as a leader and who I am today. So thank you, Godrej, for letting me present this very personal project with the title that you have, that architecture is not only about buildings, but it does transform you, the community, and everybody around you, because it's not only about the buildings, it's about what that building does and how does the building bring people together. Thank you.
Hi. So I think one project, huge one, many years into making it, and I think it was absolutely beautiful. But you know what caught my attention was the mindfulness with which you actually made this entire project. That what is going to be the student experience? What kind of students are coming there? How can I make it more comfortable, and a very strong purpose of why they are there, and then it has to be a memorable one for them for the rest of their life. So I think all that has been depicted in the presentation, and I'm sure all the students will agree to this, that they've had a very memorable time there. So thank you very, very much, Supriya, for the presentation. All right, because the time is a little not on our side. So quickly, if I can request Supriya and our next guest to kindly come and talk about, in case they want to ask something or share something between the both of you. Mahmoud, if you have any questions, Supriya, if you have any question, we just have 5 minutes for both
Sure.
of you to quickly interact with each other. This is the time. Yes.
I think, first of all, congratulations. Being on one project for so long and seeing it grow is just ridiculous. It's unbelievable. And I can only just take my hat off for you. So I think to make this discussion meaningful, I think people need to understand on this webinar how resilient mind-wise as an architect to be placed on a project that you know is going to evolve over time, and keep in mind your original vision, how it evolves over time, and how you get to the end line. And apparently there is a new extension. So how do you keep all of that unified? And I think everybody, including myself, would love to hear that. I mean, I've been on a project for very close to your time as well, so I
Yeah.
sort of understand, but it wasn't a campus. So it would be good to hear from you, how you get your mindset right.
Well, I think it's just the purpose, right? I mean, once you know why you're doing it, the then you you automatically put in the effort, right? When the why is so strong, and we right from the outset, moving away from traditional education structure. Yes, I mean that made sense. Trying to do something different in a country which was just so blindly following professionals of, become a doctor, engineer, and or an architect, but there was nothing else for anybody to do. Doing it in a place like Sonipat, which had nothing around, and then just a mission statement. It was very compelling, and there was, once you're in it, I think, and we became part of the story and the history, right? We were treated as true partners. We were just not just architects. We these all the discussions and the learnings, and we became part of that history. So I think the true partnership from the client side also made it really fun to be on this project, and all the challenges were our challenges. It wasn't like, oh, you solved this. It was all a collective effort. Through that, I think my colleagues were great fun to work with. So not one day or one site visit was dreadful. It was always a time to look forward to something new. So I think all of that just added to the fun of doing. And then once you see students on campus, it transforms. I mean, it's the best gratification you can have. So I think that's where, when the students start talking to you and telling you how great they feel being on campus, I think that's when you were like, okay, we're doing something right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
I have a question for you, Mahmoud. I am fascinated with the sketches behind you. So are these your sketches?
Yeah.
And do you still hand draw?
I hand draw every day, and I refuse
Oh,
to.
that's amazing.
And I'm trying to get the young generations to sketch, and they keep saying our sketches are bad, and I keep them getting to do bad sketches, and I present it to clients as bad sketches, so they get the confidence. I'll never stop doing this.
Oh,
It's
that's
the
wonderful. That's
Full of
wonderful.
I actually challenge AI to come up with an idea while I'm trying to sketch, just to tell me still the quickest way to communicate what's happening in our
Yeah.
heads.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad you put it up, because I think it's amazing. It's a rare sight these days. So
Yes.
I'm very happy to see that they are all up there.
That too, so many of them.
Yes.
So, not even one, but so many.
You have no idea how many left around in the office.
All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we'll quickly move on to the poll section. This section is for our audience members. What we do is that we have two questions that we ask to our audience members, and they have their voting that they give in 30 seconds. And then we see which is the maximum number, which option has got the maximum number of votes. So we'd love to hear from all of you as well. In our previous session, when we asked the audience what matters most in a successful future city, the most voted response was sustainability and resilience. And I think we spoke about it just a while ago. That tells us how strongly this community value long-term thinking in design. Let's see what stands out most most for all of you in today's conversation on community transformation through architecture. So we'll quickly begin the poll. The first question, this is for the audience members, 30 seconds. Once it comes on your screen, you can see it on your screen. The question is, when you think of community transformation through architecture, what matters most? Option number 1, inclusive public experience. Option number 2, strong contextual response. 3, long-term social value. And 4 is planning and connectivity. So the time starts now, 30 seconds to go, requesting our audience members to quickly go and vote on the option that they deem fit the best according to them. As the question says, when you think of community transformation through architecture, what matters most? All right, 10 seconds to go. Quickly requesting our audience members to go and vote so that by the end of the next 5 seconds, we come to know which is the maximum option that we've got in, which option has got the maximum votes. All right, the team gives a heads up, and the winner here is option number 1, that is inclusive public experience. So yes, that was the first question for the poll. Next, move on to the next one. Second. What drew you most to today's session? Yes, so a very interesting one, because what we try and do is every time we ask our audience members to make our content, our session more productive. So here it goes. What drew you most to today's session? The option number 1 is to understand how design shapes communities. Option number 2, to learn from Indian and global perspectives. Option number 3, to explore planning and public life through architecture. And option number 4, for inspiration and design insight. So requesting our audience members to quickly go, 30 seconds, time starts now. Very important for us to know that what is it that our audience is thinking about these sessions. It only helps us shape and make it more content driven and make it more interesting for the next episode. All right, we have 10 seconds to go. Quickly requesting all our audience members to go and vote for whichever option they feel fit. All right, I get a thumbs up from the team, and the option is number 1, which is to understand how design shape communities. So I think thank you to our speakers. I think they have, through their works, through their narrative, they have been able to help our audience members understand that what happens when there's great design happening. So yes, thank you so much. All right, so we'll quickly now move on to our last section, which is the Q&A section. And what I'll do is I'm going to ask question one by one. Audiences have given us a lot of questions, but like I said, time is not being on our side. We'll quickly take two questions each. So we'll begin with the first question with Architect Mahmoud. It says, how do you make a big project still feel human and relatable? Yes.
Okay, quickly, this is a very good question. It's the simple answer is, once you move away from the overall vision, you need to remember that you're designing for people. And as soon as every sketch you do, you start thinking from an eye level point of view, how you would relate to it, how you're going to make it a human centric, and so on and so forth, naturally pieces would fall into place because you're designing for the person. You're no longer from a bird's eye view or a big vision, so to speak. So therefore, once the vision is done, you've got to go down to the ground level and focus on aspect by aspect throughout the vision that you have in mind and get this narrative done.
Super. Thank you so much. All right. The next question is for Supriya. It says, what do students or users usually need most from a space, but architects sometimes forget?
I think they need to feel that they belong. And sometimes that is missed out, right? It either belongs to the architect's vision more than the campus, or and belonging can come in different ways, right? It's accessibility, it's comfort, comfort both in terms of thermal comfort, acoustic comfort. So if someone can take up a place on campus and own it, I think for us, that's the best place we've designed, right? It's not ours, it's theirs. So
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. All right. Thank you. Quickly, next one for architect Mahmood. It says, how do you balance modern design with local culture and context?
Hmm. That's a very interesting question. There is no one answer to it. There is an interpretation, rather. So I would do it differently from anybody else. But modern design generally should draw on the cultural context. So I cannot necessarily take a building that is designed in Hong Kong and just bring it as it is and put it in the UAE, for example. It has to get the inspiration of people. I can't put a vertical garden in a desert. So you get the inspiration, you understand the fundamentals of this, you get your own interpretation of modern architecture, and then you have an architectural expression. It's you trying to understand it, it's you trying to sell it. So the more you immerse yourself in understanding the culture, your modern interpretation will be built on that.
All right. The last question for Supriya. It says, what makes an institutional project feel active and lively instead of static?
The people. I think if there are people around, if you will see it, you will feel it. And one of the best things we enjoy is being on campus overnight, because through the day, the way the campus is used is so different. And at night, it really comes alive because people are not inside classrooms, but they're outside. And
Yeah.
while they still might be studying and learning and interacting, it's all in between. It's all in the in-between spaces, right? So I think it's the people who add, add the fun to the campus life.
All right. So I think lot of questions are there, but I'm so sorry about the time because we're already hit the overtime. So, but yes, thank you very, very much to both of our guests. Thank you, Supriya, for such an amazing project. And of course, thank you, Mahmood. I know you've been traveling, you've just arrived, and thank you so much for making that extra effort for all of us. And thank you to our lovely audience who've actually supported us every episode and asking such pertinent questions to us. It also makes our interesting for our guests to be able to answer those questions. So yes, thank you once again. We shall see you soon sometime in future. And for the audience members, we will see you in the next episode. Until then, please take care. Happy designing.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for having us.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Thrusters.
Check. Door lock check.
डोर लॉक घर का डोर लॉक किया था या भूल गया घर का लॉक फटाफट से चेक करके आऊं क्या
ले आइए गोदरेज IoT 9 डिजिटल लॉक, 9 सिक्योर एक्सेस मोड्स, ऑटोमेटिक लॉकिंग ट्रिपल बोल्ट और कई एडवांस फीचर्स। अब घर के अंदर या बाहर रहो बेफिक्र।
घर जाते ही गोदरेज डिजिटल लॉक लगवाऊंगा।
Welcome to the Godrej Value Co-Creators Club, where innovation meets collaboration. GVCC is a unique platform for architects and interior designers to merge their creative visions with our innovative product offerings. We aim to cultivate a network of thought leaders, driving innovation and excellence in the industry. Celebrate your achievements with our GV's Awards, recognizing innovative projects across various verticals. Join our community through exhibition visits and masterclasses to stay updated on the latest trends and technologies. Enjoy exclusive access to new products, special discounts, and tours of our Mumbai and Goa plants. Join the Godrej Value Co-Creators Club today. Be part of a community that values innovation, collaboration, and sustainability.